Hello everybody, how is it going? My name is Lucas and welcome to the third episode of the Cajun Guitar Gear Podcast. I'm going to be your host, Lucas Lacombe, and boy do we have a tasty episode on hand. Mark Tremonti and PRS have come out with a brand new amplifiers. That is Mark's signature MT100. Jay from Slipknot has been kicked out of the band. He is the drummer. What else do we have? We have some Grammy nominations. We have Slash maybe leaving Marshall. We'll investigate that. Boss came out with a new reverb pedal. And we have some other things on the docket. So let's jump right in and talk about PRS's new MT100, the signature amp for one Mark Tremonti. Brace yourself, guys, because I've been kind of thinking about what I wanted to say for this amp all week because I have a lot of feelings on it. All right, so the very first thing we're going to talk about, let's talk about the features of this amp. You have a 3-channel amp. You have the standby and power switch all in one switch. You have a lead channel. You have an overdrive channel, which is kind of, the overdrive channel has kind of been getting this name of the Dumbo channel because that's what it's based off of, but I'll touch more on that later. And you have a clean channel, and the channels are in backwards order. Personally, I would have the clean channel on the left, the lead on the right, but that's just me. You have a single input for the amp. The amp itself is going to run you $1850 USD, and it is manufactured in China. I'm just going to include that because I know some people care about that sort of thing. On the back panel, you have 3 speaker jack options. You have 116 ohm, or you have 1.8 and 216. They're kind of grouped together. You have a foot switch. You have a send and return effects loop, and you have bias jacks in the back of it, and you have a fuse. So it's a very simple amp. And it is run by 6L6 tubes, I believe is what it takes. I really should have looked it up before we started the podcast, but you know. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, 6L6 tubes. 4 of those, and you have 8 12 AX7s. 8 12 AX7s. Well, this amp does not include, as you saw in the back, it doesn't have an IR loader. You can't switch the effects loop. You can't switch it on and off. It does not have MIDI, which is a very big no-no for me. It doesn't have any auto bias points. It doesn't have any LEDs, light LEDs, the one you change channel. It doesn't have any of those. In its pure form, it's kind of a very, I don't call it old school amp, but it's very stripped down. And before I even talk more about this, I kind of want to throw this out. I want you to marinate on this while I talk about the amp. Everything I just said, I know some people don't care about a lot of the things I just said. They're like, yeah, man, just give me an amp. I want to plug it in and pull it in the cab. I'm going to rock out. Yeah, bro, let's go. And I'm not really talking to those people. I'm talking to pretty much everybody else. If this amp, this particular amp right here, didn't have Mark Tremonti's name on it. It didn't have PRS's name on it. And it was launched under a brand new amp company called Badass Amps Inc. BAA Inc. All right. If BAA Inc. launched this amp, what do you think the reception would be? $1,800, almost $1,900 amp. It doesn't even, it also, another thing I forgot to include, it doesn't have any master volumes on it, which is not that big of a deal, but I've come to like master volumes. I like the idea of it. It's kind of more of like a DAW way of thinking where you can gain stage. I'll explain that. A brand new amp company launched this amp. How do you think it would be, how the market would take it? It's a very crowded market right now. PRS and Mark did not have their name attached to this amp. How do you think it would go over? Marinate with that while I talk about this amp. So in the actual preview, I'll play a little bit of it for you right now. For those who are just listening, let's listen to Mark play a little bit. I'm going to skip ahead. All right, that's enough. I don't want to get copyright claimed. Hopefully I don't have to take that part of it out. So Mark has famously used rectifiers in Creed. That's how he rose to fame. He used, I think, Triple X in Creed is what he used. So I kind of suspected this amp to be based off of that. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't at the same time. So the lead channel is okay. Listening to all the demos that I've listened to, the Premier Guitar one, by the way, I forgot the guy's name. I think his name is Zach. Premier Guitar got him the demo amps, and that dude has a magical touch for everything he touches. So go listen to that demo if you really want to hear what this amp sounds like. And Agu Fish did one too. There's a lot of good demos out there for this amp. Lead channel, it is okay. It doesn't wow me in any particular way. It's just kind of like, yeah, that's a good, it's a good lead channel. And Mark's big thing was like, oh yeah, the clean channel has to be good. I mean, PRS is kind of The whole brand itself is kind of focused toward more like, clean-ish, and you do have some metal players, but I mean, all in all, PRS is kind of like a, hard rock, dad rock, blues rock kind of thing. So the clean channel is good. I mean, clean channel is clean channel, right? So you have an okay lead channel. You have a, above average clean channel. Let's just call it that. Now the overdrive channel, this one throws me for the biggest loop. Mark has said that this is based off of a Dumbo. For those who don't know, Dumbo is one of the most like sought after, like Nashville type of amp, like, like a country, like, blues rock. There's like a whole genre like built around Dumbos, like Robin Ford and stuff like that, right? He has a blue to high, which I use that clean in my Axe Effects patch. That's his Dumbo clone, blue to high. Well, the overdrive channel on here, it's weird because it's very overbloated and the EQs don't even do anything. So it's almost as if the EQs put on here are kind of an afterthought, and it's kind of almost as if the preamp on here is bypassed, because the preamp knobs don't really do anything. Like the treble knob, they don't really do anything. By the way, each channel does have a master volume, but you don't have a master volume controlling all of the channels, if that makes any sense. Because like on my Revv, on the Generator 130s, I think the second gens had them too. I have 2 master volumes on it, but I have a level for each channel, and then I have the master volume for the whole amp, which I kind of like, because you can gain stage each individual channel how loud you want it, and then you can gain stage the entire level of the amp. I like that thinking. The way I institute stuff in my DAW, meaning that you can gain stage it differently how you want, is basically what I'm trying to say. You're not very limited. It's very flexible, but we don't have that on here. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. We're talking about the overdrive channel. I don't really think it sounds like a Dumbo. I mean, it kind of does, but like it doesn't. The bass, middle, and treble knobs don't do enough for me whenever you're controlling this amp. On this front, it's very simple, like, because you don't have any like aggressions, you don't have any like mid shifts, you don't have any like sculpting tools with this amp. Mark said it took them 5 years to develop this amp, and it was on his rig rundown. He was doing it with Premier Guitar, and that's kind of where I want to go into the next section of this. So for those who are listening, we're looking at the back of the amp right now. Like I said before, you have a foot switch to change things. You have a effects loop, which you can't really turn on and off. There's a giant space on this amp where MIDI could have been. And this is where I'm going to harp on this the most. I can forgive that this amp was made in China, okay? For those who have ever followed me before, when I did my 5150 history video, I kind of banged on PV very hard for making their stuff in China, mainly because a lot of the stuff you get from China is very hit or miss. So you'll have stuff that lasts tens of years, tens, thousands of years. You have no issues with them. And you have some stuff that's made specifically in China and then shipped here, and then it's not quality up to par. Yeah, some amp manufacturers use circuit boards and stuff from China, but it is built and specifically in a different country like Sweden, the US, Canada, for example, and it's quality controlled by the people who are building it, which is a little bit different when it's coming from China, as you kind of have a little buffer zone built in there. But I digress about that. I'm not going to really harp about that. Not including MIDI on this amp is an absolute crime in 2023. Any and every amp that's on this level, I wouldn't say this is mega boutique level, but this is kind of on that upper, A to S tier level of amp. It's encouraging on that $2,000 to $4,000 range, because when you get in that kind of range, like that is big boy amp territory. And I feel like they tried their best. PRS, what I mean, they tried their best to keep it under $2,000. How much would it have cost you to add MIDI to this amp? MIDI has been around almost 40 years, and it's the most bestest, I'm using improper language here, is one of the best musical inventions ever, because you can do so much with it musically. MIDI is so flexible, you can literally use bass and drums to compose a full song with it, and you can literally like switch programmings on your amp with it. And this amp not having MIDI is absolutely insane, because, and I'm gonna make my point for this, if you're in a major touring rig with, I don't know, some, like Metallica, Deftones, Megadeth, some other bands like Veil of Maya, if you are in a big touring band like that and you're using real amps, okay, 99% of the time you're going to use MIDI to switch things. Why? Because it's an open standard and it communicates between everything. You can mix and match your different switching pedal boards with pedals. It's an open standard, so it works everywhere. So if you were to buy the MT100 and you bring it on your touring, bring it on your tour across the country, you would essentially have to completely retool how you switch things. Like, if you're a big touring guitarist and you bring this to your tech and you're like, hey, I bought this new amp, let's make it work at the rig, and you know, the tech's like, all right, man, let's see what the MIDI controls are. Wait, we don't have MIDI? Like, you have a foot switch to change things, but it completely ignores a standard that's very easily to implement, and I can't get over it. It is blowing my mind that this doesn't have it. Like, I assume this amp is competing with like the EVH Stealth and the EVH 5153 line, the 100-watt amp. To the credit of people mad at me right now that I'm complaining about MIDI, those amps, the EVH 5153s, don't have MIDI on them, but there is a workaround for it. I believe Riviera makes this workaround system that allows you to incorporate MIDI with that amp. And believe it or not, the smaller 50-watt EL34 and the Stealths actually do have MIDI on them, which is very weird. But a lot of guys use the 100-watt ones that are touring, you know, professionally. It aggravates me. Being able to turn the effects loop on and off in MIDI are things that should have been absolutely default with this amp. Now, will this amp sell a bunch? Yes. Will it probably be successful? Yes. But that's not going to keep me from being aggravated with it, because PRS is the major players in the guitar world, right? You have Fender and Gibson. When you mention guitar, that's the first two things that comes to people's minds because they've been around forever. PRS is, I don't say they're in that top 5. A lot of people know who they are. They've been around a substantial amount of time. They have a very big budget. Now they have just dipped their toes into the amp and pedal world with the Archon and all the horse meat pedals and stuff. So I get that they are, you know, fairly new to the amp world ish. And I say new. I think, you know, under 10 years, right around 10 years, that mark compared to everyone else. But why are you not including some of the most simple, essential things in your amp? If you want to dominate the market, you have to put these things in there. So this amp is $1,850, okay? And I probably shouldn't make this comparison, but I'm going to make it anyway. So for a little bit more money, right, about $2,100 or so, I mean, it's not that much more from $1,850. Revv just launched their Dynamis D40, right? Now, this is not in the same market. The Dynamis D40 is a 2-channel amp. You have clean and you have a crunch. The D40 is aimed at people who are playing like rock, country, stuff like that, blues, style rock stuff. You have master volumes on there for all of the channels. Well, 2 of the channels. You have an IR loader. You have LED changes. I mean, I know they're extras, but you have all of the things that a modern amp would want, and it's only about $2,100. Where I'm going with this is, what's stopping the company from coming out with a 2-channel amp? Sort of do like the 5150 if you really want to do it. Have a crunch channel that kind of sounds like a clean channel if you want to do it like that. Depending on who you're marketing this as. You have a clean channel that's just okay, and then you have like a crunch channel, and then you have like your absolute blazing lead channel, right? So it's kind of like a 2.5-channel amp. What's stopping a company from doing that? That's you know, having all the modern features, 2 channels, and marketing it at $2,000. That's going to eat this amp alive. When you go spec to spec, those other amps are going to win. They're not that much more money. And the thing that you think would separate the PRS from all these other amps, so the tones coming out of here would have to absolutely be slaying. And they're kind of not. They're kind of lackluster for me. So that is kind of my take on the MT100. It's not, my friends were kind of jumping my butt because they were like, what did the MT100 do to hurt you? Like, why you hate it so much? And now that I've kind of calmed down about it and have time to think about it, I'm disappointed in it, because it's like this amp was highly anticipated. I know I'm really not the target market for it. I guess I'm disappointed in the people who are going to be buying it. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are not going to care about it because they're just like, I have my effects in front of the pedal, I have my effects in front of my amp, the foot switch is fine. And if you love it and you get great tones out of it, then that is an absolute win. But I'm disappointed that they left very simple things out of it that should be in there in 2023. Because I iterated at the very start of this segment, if BAA, Badass Amps Inc., unknown to the world, came out with this amp, how would it sell? Tones are the same. Everything about this amp is the same except the names attached to it. And how would it sell? And how would it be? If you didn't have PRS's distribution network and power, how would that be received? And that is going to wrap everything up for the MT100. And a little side note here. A lot of people don't know this as kind of a bonus content for you guys here. So the MT15, which is a like little lunchbox amp that PRS has. Let's see if I can find it really quick. Yes, the MT15, from 15 to 100 watts on the amp, right? This amp's like $700, right? It's cheap. This amp absolutely decimated box amp world because everyone expected features and the sounds that came out of the MT15 to come out of all the other ones and be that same price. This amp should probably be about $1,000 to $1,100. Is really what a good lunchbox amp is usually what it costs. PRS want to be so aggressive and capture so much of that market, they cut the price on it. I don't know how much money per se. Like, I don't have any insides on this. I don't know how much money Mark's making off this amp. I don't know how much money PRS is making off this amp. But I don't exactly know it. I don't exactly know how much it is. I don't really think it's that much. So I can kind of see what they wanted to do with the MT15. I promise this has a point. So I guess they wanted to keep the price. So some people were even suspecting that it would be cheaper than 1850. It's just very baffling. So the MT15 is $700. So you're costing about $1,000 more. Like, if you're gonna make a big boy amp, go all the way for it. You're stopping right before the goal line. Like, just go all the way for it. I get they want to keep it under $2,000 because PRS has been very aggressive with the market right now. So from October to December, all of their SE, their import line PRSs, they're all on sale. So right now, PRS is being very aggressive in the lower price tier, and they're trying to capture a lot of the market, and I get it. But it's just, I'm very disappointed in MT100. I kind of expected more for being so long, and for the names that are attached to it, I'm just kind of a little disappointed on it. Okay. More amp news. Let's move on to some more amp news. So, everyone's favorite Guns N' Roses guitarist Slash, earlier in the week has been reported that he left Marshall and he has a partnership with Magnatone Amps now. So, Magnatone Amps, for those who are watching, I'm going to show it to you right now. On Sweetwater, their amps are about $3,100, $3,199. It's a 45 watt tube head. It kind of looks like a Plexi. It kind of looks like an old school Plexi. You have 2 inputs on it. You have high and low gain selection, presence, bass, middle, treble, master. It's kind of like, it's based off of a Plexi, right? And it's been announced earlier that Slash has a partnership with them. Now, he's been using them in concert kind of for a while now. And Dave Freeman, the maker of Freeman Amps, on his podcast, he said that he saw Guns N' Roses at one of the shows, and they were using Magnatones. It's one of the worst tones that he's ever heard them with. A couple of people I know you're already thinking, oh, Dave's just saying that because Slash is not using his amps. Dave's really not that kind of guy. Dave does not really care if you're using his amps or not. He's a very chill dude when it comes to that. Not very vengeful and spiteful, which is very rare in the music industry, by the way. Because a lot of these dudes in the music industry are spiteful, they're evil, and they get butthurt at the drop of a hat. So to find someone like that, like in Dave, is very awesome. That he's not that type of dude. So for him to kind of say that, he's just being honest. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know if that was a sound issue. I don't know what. But anyway, I'm just kind of giving you full context. Everyone was freaking out. They were like, oh my God, Slash is leaving. He's done with Marshall. Because Marshall just changed owners. It's a Swedish company who owns them now. The Jim Marshall family sold the majority of their stake in it. So they still own some, but they're not the majority owners anymore. So they're not making the decisions. And the current owners, they make a lot of like Bluetooth boxes and stuff like that. Bluetooth speakers and boxes and all kind of other stuff with Marshall's branding on it. So Marshall hasn't exactly been pushing the boundaries in the amp market for a while now, so it kind of would make sense that Slash would go over there to Magnatone. But a couple days ago, KDH actually did a video on this. This is where I first saw it at, and there's been a statement from it. I think I have it right here. I have it from Blabbermouth. Slash confirms his relationship with Marshall will continue despite his new Megatone partnership. So it looks like Slash is pulling one of those dual endorsement things the same way that Kirk Hammett has with Gibson and ESP, and there's a couple of other guys who have that though, like guitars with headstocks from some brands and headless guitars from others, which it's fine. I'm all cool about that. I don't know if Slash wanted to leave, or we really don't know. He's continuing his partnership. Maybe he likes both of them. Maybe he just kind of wanted to try something new. And all of his Marshalls are not in production. They haven't been in production for a while, I believe. They're all like limited. So watch this. I'm on Sweetwater right now. Let's search for Slash amp. If we just search for Slash amp, you get an Epiphone that comes up, and you get his signature IK Media plugin. So you can't really buy a Slash amp from Sweetwater right now if you go to there. The only thing close to that would be the Magnatone, which I'm good for. I'm happy for Magnatone, right? They're a boutique company. They're not Marshall big, they're carrying their own weight. They're not widely super huge as Marshall. Let's put it that way. I'm glad for them. Hopefully their sales skyrocket. I just gotta want to highlight this because this has been a point of contention online. Everyone's been freaking out about it. I'm happy for Slash. He has what he has. Happy for Magnatone. I mean, I'm sure Slash makes a lot of money from Marshall just being on the roster, but it's like, Marshall, can we get some, new Slash amps? That would probably be pretty cool. And maybe this was a wake-up call Marshall needed to, start making some cooler stuff and stop being so so lame with their stuff. I mean, I like Marshall stuff, but I'm currently, other than modern stuff, I don't really gravitate towards any of it. It just doesn't really pique me that very much. That's been your drama over Slash. Everyone's like, oh, he's leaving Marshall. Wait, he's not leaving Marshall. He's doing a dual thing. So he left Marshall for some Plexi clones of Magnetone, Plexi based on Magnetone. So there you go. That is a Slash drama rolled up the best way. Hopefully I gave you enough information on that. And from Blabbermouth, they're staying. He's staying with Marshall. So maybe he'll I don't know. He'll use the cat. I don't really know what he's gonna do. Maybe now that he got a new baby in Magnetone, he'll get a new baby from Marshall. Now, let's move on to some drummer news from everyone's favorite new metal band, Slipknot. So, when I grew up, Joey Jordison was the guy in Slipknot. I was never a diehard Slipknot fan, but I liked a few of their songs. I thought they were pretty cool. I listened to them every now and then growing up. Now, this is in the early 2000s and the 90s. So I grew up with him, listening to him and all the Slipknot songs. And then when he left, that was a very big deal. Like in the drumming community, a lot of people figuring out because Joey's very Joey. Like, it's him drumming when you hear him drumming. It's just kind of how it is. And then Jay came in. Jay's been there for 10 years already, which is kind of hard to believe. He was kind of unceremoniously fired. And there's no real reason given for it. It says creative differences, but like the press release was released and then it was deleted by Slipknot. There's just a lot of like weird stuff going on around it. And Corey and Clown keep firing people from this band. And there's a lot of funny memes going around saying all band is gone, which was hilarious. I found that was really funny. But Jay was a very good drummer. He inspired a lot of people, and a lot of people were pissed that he was out of the band. And a lot of people, like, this is the final straw for Slipknot, and the band is done. And it's going to be interesting to see them come back from this, because it depends on who replaces him. Now, who replaces him, he's going to be walking into a weird situation. Like, yeah, I get to play with Slipknot. I get to tour the world. I get to meet a lot of people. Maybe this dispute of Jay getting fired was over money because he's been there for 10 years. I saw this floating around. I have no really sources to really, like, back this up, but some people were alluding that maybe he wanted a little bit of a raise after 10 years, and Corey and Clown were like, no, you're not, so bye. Because I have the Metal Injection article pulled up for those that's listening. It says, I was heartbroken and blindsided to receive the phone call out of the blue. So, like, they called him and fired him, and then the press release came out. So he learned about it a little bit before the public did, and a lot of people were mad about this. I haven't seen Slipknot fans this mad about something in a very long time. So Slipknot has some stuff they need to figure out. A lot of these websites, the music websites, constantly run stories on Corey Taylor. Corey Taylor farted. This is what it smelled like. It's basically all they run all the time. It's going to be very interesting how their next album is received. I was not the biggest fan of the latest album they released. It just was kind of like a blah, and the production was not that great on it. And Corey's like, yeah, I don't know how many years we have left in Slipknot, blah, 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 blah. I mean, and Corey's like touring by himself, and then he has Stone Sour. So things seem to be very about Corey, and he doesn't really seem to care too much about other people, because he did kick out Jim Root from Stone Sour. I don't know. It seems like Corey wants to just kick everybody out. He just wants to be him and Clown, and then they run the show, and he just wants a bunch of hired guns, which is kind of what it seems like at this point. So Slipknot has a lot to figure out. Statement from Jay actually just came out. So this actually happened a week ago, pretty much. It happened on Sunday right after I put up my last podcast, and then it went drug on the whole week, and we just got a statement from Jay, like, Saturday, like yesterday. That's gonna wrap it up for Jay Weinberg being kicked out of Slipknot. What do you think about this? Just give me your comments on YouTube. If you're watching, go to YouTube, check it out on YouTube, the podcast on YouTube. Let me know what you think about this. Let's move on to some other stuff I don't know if I'm gonna call this quick riffs. I think I might start calling this quick riffs. This is some smaller stories that I kind of checked out that I found interesting during the week. So moving on right into the quick riffs, we have gotten some Grammy nominations, and Grammys have been one of the lamest things in recent years, because a lot of the voters, when it comes to rock and metal, they actually remove the metal album category. They removed that recently. The voters only vote for who's popular and who sells the most. That's pretty much how it goes for 98% of all Grammy stuff that they show on TV. Album of the year, record of the year, pop. They just go by who sells the most and who's the most popular, which sucks. It's that's not how it should be. It really should be who has the best album and who was the best musically, but that's not really how award shows go. That's not even how award shows go at all. The record labels, I don't know, they lobby for stuff and they compete. I don't think a lot of people really know that. I know for Oscars and stuff, they'll campaign for the movie to win and stuff like that, because it makes them look. For the best metal performance nominees, we have Disturbed with Bad Man, Ghost with Phantom of the Opera, Metallica with 72 Seasons, Slipknot with Hive Mind, and Spirit Box with Jaded. So out of these, Spirit Box definitely deserves to win. Spirit Box has kind of made more of a mainstream push lately. They actually just released a song with Megan Thee Stallion, which kind of came out of nowhere. And they've been crossing over a lot more into mainstream. So I'm happy Slipknot. Oh, I'm happy. No, I'm not happy Slipknot got nominated. I'm happy Spirit Box got nominated. They deserve to win. Disturbed has not been good in about 20 in a very long time. Disturbed does not do it for me anymore. Ghost, I don't like Ghost at all. They sound like Scooby-Doo music. Metallica 72 Seasons. The 72 Seasons was just not it, man. It was okay, but it was just not it. Slipknot is just, I mean, Slipknot hasn't been it for a while either. I guess that's the last song that Jay's gonna be nominated for under Slipknot. So that is what you have for metal performances. Ghost should not be in there. These other guys can be in there. Hopefully Slipknot takes that. I mean, God. Hopefully Spirit Box takes it. Sorry, Spirit Box. Best rock noms. You have Foo Fighters, Greta Van Fleet, Metallica again. Which, why are they in both categories? Just leave them in metal. Paramore should absolutely not be in this category. They have not been rock in a very long time. Paramore, it makes me very angry because like their Misery Business era, they're trying to like denounce that whole era and they're trying to pretend it doesn't exist so they don't get canceled. So they don't deserve to be in the rock category. I'm sorry, they don't, because they haven't been rock in a very long time. Queens of the Stone Age, yeah, sure. I haven't really listened to Queens in a very long time, but yeah, they definitely deserve best rock album. Best rock performance. We have Arctic Monkeys, Black Pumas, Boy Genius, Foo Fighters, and you have Metallica again. You're starting to see a theme here. They're just throwing Metallica in there because all of the voters, there's not a lot of young voters for the Grammys. There's a few that's on there. I think Joey Sturgis is on there. You have to have so many production credits and like a register for it to be able to vote. And as you can see right here, they're just voting for the popular stuff. Arctic Monkeys, no, they should not be in here. Black Pumas, no. Boy Genius, no. Foo Fighters, yes. Metallica, okay. Lux Eternal was the best song off of 72 Seasons. That was the coolest. That was the only good song off there, in my opinion. So sure, but just Metallica just keeps showing up in here. So best rock songs: Boy Genius, Foo Fighters, Olivia Rodrigo. Why is she on here? She should not be on here. Queens, yes. Rolling Stones, no. Rolling Stones should not be in here. I'm sorry. They have had their time in the sun. There are better bands that should be on there for best rock song, and that is all the Grammy nominations. So I used to get so very worked up over the Grammys, but I've learned there's no point in getting mad because they're going to pick who they know, right? That's just kind of how the Grammys go these days. They're going to pick who they know. They're not going to pick a lot of other good bands because, man, there is so much good stuff that came out this year. When it comes to rock and metal, there's like, I think I have like close to 30 albums that I really enjoyed this year. There's so much good stuff, and these songs, a lot of them don't deserve it, by the way. So Spirit Box, I hope you win. Metallica might pick up one. I really don't know. They've already picked some up in the future. So let's go back to some actual gear stuff. Fender and Bruno Mars have teamed up to make the Bruno Mars Signature Stratocaster. And it has Mars Mocha as the color. So it's kind of like this mocha brown looking color. You have a black pick guard. You have white pickups, white knobs, and you have gold hardware that is on it. It's your standard... It's your standard fret. It's your standard Strat stuff, 25.5 inch scale. The only real like the only thing I can't even talk. The only differentiating factor for this Strat that's different from any other Strat is it has 21 medium jumbo frets. So it's 21 frets, not even 22. That's new, and it has Bruno Mars signature single coil pickup. So I guess he tweaked, it doesn't even say what it's based off, so he tweaked his noiseless pickups, right? And you're looking at 3K for this. Is this cool? I mean, kind of. I just kind of wish it was a little bit different, because anytime Fender gives someone like a signature Strat, they don't really change it all that much as opposed to like any other Strat. So I mean, you could probably build a parts caster for half this price and get it to kind of sound in that range. I think this Strat is okay. I don't know if I'd pay 3K for it. It's just, I wanted to show it to you guys because there was something new that came out. Oh my God, hold on. This changes the game. I didn't read that correctly. This has stainless steel frets. Yes, but okay, I completely changed my mind. This Strat is 100% absolutely worth it because Bruno Mars got Fender to put stainless steel frets on our guitar. Fender does put stainless on some of their guitars, but they hide it in these kind of like weird models that are really hard to get. A lot of their like popular models don't have it. So okay, this is the Strat to go. If you want a high end Strat that you're looking for, get this one because it has stainless steel frets, and the noiseless pickups or his signature pickups. So good job, Bruno. I'm gonna commend you on that. The only thing that would make this Strat absolutely perfect is if it had a humbucker on the bridge. I kind of like hum single if I'm playing a Strat. That's just the best apex way for me to go. So moving on to some more gear stuff, Boss has just dropped the RV200 reverb pedal. Now this is a big chunky boy of a reverb pedal that it has everything you could ever want in a reverb, right? It has, let's see, premium Boss reverb processing, class leading quality 32-bit ADDA, 32-bit floating point, 96 sample, 127 user memory storage slots. What else? Extensive hold, wrap, and twist effects. Stereo I/O with wet dry features. Powered by 3 AAA batteries or optional AC adapter. Connect to control multiple 200 series pedals at once via MIDI. And you go MIDI, being really cool. Once again, PRS could learn from that. So, like, you literally have everything you could ever want in this pedal. You have, let's see, you have modulate, delay, plus, lo-fi, gate, reverse, room, hall, plate, spring, shimmer, and ARP verb, and you have slow verb, and like you can do any and everything you want with this pedal. You have time, pre-delay, level, prom, low and high when adjusting it, and you have it looks like a USB-C port. That's a micro port, I'm sorry. You have a micro port USB on the side, you have MIDI in and out. Of course, it is made in Japan, because that is where Boss is located. I just kind of want to show this to you guys. I think this pedal is really tight. So if you want like the all-in-one ultimate reverb pedal and you're a fan of Boss stuff, I think this would be the go-to pedal for you guys. I am not too sure on the price on this. Let's see how much this is. It is going to be running you $269.99 for the RV200. Okay, that is going to be it. And not the last but not least when it comes to the quick riffs section is going to be on the limited edition Pro Series Signature Jeff Loomis Kelly HT6 Ash. So this thing is actually really badass, right? So if you're a fan of Kelly's and you're a fan of Jeff Loomis, this thing is shreds. It has his blackouts in it. It is a hardtail. I believe the one he released before had a Floyd on it, and a lot of people were mad because they don't like Floyd's, which that's a whole other podcast on of itself. 25.5 scale length is what this guitar has. It's a basswood body with a sandblasted ash top, which I love ash tops. I'm like a huge fan of like a natural ash top, and you can see a lot of the ash coming through if you're watching right now, if you're looking on the YouTubes. You have a 2016 compound radius, lumen lace side dots, his signature blackouts, active electronics, 3-way toggle, hip shot bridge, locking strap buttons and Jackson, sealed die cast, locking tuners. Hell yeah, let's go. It's gonna have some nickel frets on it, being that it is one of their endpoint models. You have a Graphtec nut on it, XL nut on it. This thing slays. So if you want a hardtail Jeff Loomis Kelly, go pick this up. It's pretty much apex for everyone who wants a 6-string Kelly. Now, if you want to look at a cool demo of it, go check out my man, Mr. Taylor Danley. He did a sick demo of it, playing it through an Ingle Savage, which, I don't know, these Kellys and Ingles just go together really well. We can also adjust the truss rod and the back of the neck by the neck pickup, which is also apex. I love that on guitars. This guitar is great. If you love a Kelly, if you love Jeff Loomis, this is going to be the perfect pro model for you. Price on that, maybe I should have looked at it. You're looking at about $1,550 is what you're looking at for that, which is, that's a decent price for that. So hit up your Sweetwater engineer to get it for you. I am sponsored, but I say sponsored by Sweetwater. I have affiliate links from Sweetwater in the comments down below. So if you're thinking about getting something from Sweetwater, click that little link. I get a little bit of some love from that link, which helps me make more podcasts, make more videos, so I can bring cool stuff to you. And I think that is going to wrap it up this week for episode 3 of the Cajun Guitar Podcast. Guys, any comments, any questions, let me know in the comments down below. We had some very juicy topics that we covered. Did things a little bit different here. I'm using my webcam instead of my actual big camera, so that way I can record for longer stints of time. And so my camera shuts off after 30 minutes. I didn't want to have to chop anything together. But anyway, enough of me rambling. Guys, thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. You have so much stuff buying for your attention. You chose to stick and spend some time with me, and I really do appreciate it, guys. And I'll catch you on the next video, next podcast. Thank you so much for checking it out. Peace.